Okay, let's unpack some of these maybe slightly strange habits we all have sometimes. You ever find yourself just like needing to crunch on ice?
Oh, yeah. Or, suddenly getting hit with a massive craving for pickles.
Totally. And what about rewatching the same TV show over and over? Guilty.
Definitely. And then there's the more hidden stuff, like anxiety about using public bathrooms.
Right, or that big debate. Socks in bed. Is it comfy or just wrong?
Exactly. Chances are you probably recognize at least one of those in yourself, right?
For sure. And what's really fascinating and what we're getting into today is that these things we might just brush off as quirks. They often have actual reasons behind them.
Yeah, rooted in biology, psychology. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
our bodies and minds are trying to tell us something, little signals.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we looked into some pretty interesting research trying to figure out the why.
Right. We're not just saying, oh, people chew ice. We're asking why might they be doing that?
And hopefully, by exploring these reasons, you get a bit of insight,
Yeah.
maybe into your own habits or understand others a bit better.
Yeah, those little aha moments where you think, okay, that actually makes sense. Maybe be a bit kinder to yourself about your own quirks.
All right, let's kick off with ice chewing. It seems simple, but there's got to be more to it than just liking a cold crunch.
Well, there often is. I mean, sure, some people just like the sensation, but a really strong, persistent craving for ice, that's actually got a medical name, pagophagia.
Pagophilia.
And it's often really strongly linked with iron deficiency anemia.
Oh, interesting. How does that work?
The thinking is, well, low iron often means low energy, right? Fatigue. So chewing ice might kind of wake you up a bit, give a temporary alertness boost.
With a jolt?
Sort of. Some researchers think it might increase blood flow to the brain, almost like the body's way of trying to, you know, compensate for that sluggish feeling.
Wow. Okay, so that need to chew ice could actually be a physical signal.
It really could be.
Yeah.
But, important caveat, not everyone who chews ice is anemic. Definitely not.
Right.
For some people, it really is just sensory. That coldness, the crunch itself, it could be genuinely soothing. Or maybe a stress relief thing or like an oral fixation. It just feels good to them.
So it serves a purpose, whether it's physiological or sensory?
Okay, precisely. It's more complex than it looks.
All right, let's give it to another big one. Pickles. That intense craving, it's not just about liking sour things, is it?
Usually not, no. A big driver for pickle cravings is often a need for sodium, salt.
Ah, electrolytes.
Exactly. Especially if you've been sweating a lot, maybe exercising, or you're just a bit dehydrated. Your body's basically shouting, hey, need salt over here.
That makes total sense, replenishing what you lost.
Right. Sodium's vital for fluid balance, nerves, muscles, all that stuff. And then there's the vinegar.
What about the vinegar?
Well, there's some thought it might affect your gut health, maybe the bacteria or how digestion is signaled. Plus, let's be honest, the sensory hit is huge.
That sour punch and the crunch.
Yeah, it's intense. Really satisfying for some people.
And what about the classic pregnancy pickle craving? Is that a real biological thing?
Oh, absolutely. Pregnancy involves massive hormonal shifts. That totally changes taste preferences and how the body handles fluids. So yes, intense cravings for things like pickles are very common.
Okay.
And also, people on, say, really restrictive diets might crave pickles too. They want that strong flavor punch, the salt, the sourness, when other foods are maybe a bit bland.
Right, right. Okay, this kind of leads us into weirder territory, like peanut butter on pickles, or, I don't know, hot sauce on ice cream. What's driving those unusual food combinations?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's just novelty seeking, right? Trying something different just because.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
A food adventure?
Kinda. But often it's about sensory contrast. That clash of sweet and sour or creamy and crunchy or hot and cold. It creates a really unique, sometimes surprisingly good sensation.
Like your taste buds are waking up.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't forget emotional connections. Maybe a weird combo reminds you of childhood. Or it's a comfort food thing tied to a specific memory.
Okay.
And interestingly, our psychological state seems to play a role too. Stress, boredom, feeling emotionally wiped. That can actually shift what tastes good to us.
So next time you reach for something odd, maybe pause and think, what am I really looking for here?
It's worth considering.
Okay, switching gears completely now. Rewatching the same TV show again and again. I do this all the time when I just need to zone out. What's the deal with that comfort?
You are definitely not alone there. It's incredibly common. And the main reason, comfort and predictability. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Think about it. The world can feel chaotic, uncertain, Rewatching something familiar, it's low stakes, you know exactly what's going to happen. No surprises.
It's like a safe space for your brain.
Exactly. It provides what psychologists call cognitive ease. Your brain doesn't have to work hard processing new stuff, which is incredibly soothing, especially if you're dealing with, say, anxiety or depression.
Or just feeling overwhelmed.
Or just overwhelmed, yeah. Or even things like executive dysfunction, where taking in new information feels extra taxing. Familiarity is just easier.
And nostalgia must play a huge part too, right? Revisiting old favorites.
Oh, massive part. It triggers positive memories, brings back feelings from when you first watched it, creates a sense of stability, maybe even control. It's a really effective way to kind of regulate your emotions when things feel tough. And get this, studies suggest engaging with familiar stuff like a favorite show can actually release feel-good chemicals in your brain. Oxytocin, dopamine.
Wow, really? Even if the show itself is like dramatic or sad?
Even then, because the familiarity is the key. You know the outcome, you know the emotional arc. You've mastered it, in a way.
That makes sense.
And sometimes, let's be real, you're not even fully watching, are you? It's just on in the background while you do other things.
Yeah, like co-watching.
Exactly. It's the ambient emotional tone you want, not necessarily the plot details again, just that familiar hum.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Now let's tackle something maybe a bit more sensitive. Public bathroom anxiety. It's a real thing for a lot of people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a very real and often significant source of stress. Even has clinical names for the more severe forms. Paresis, or shy bladder,
Right.
and parcopresis, or shy bowel. And these aren't just, feeling a bit awkward. It's a spectrum. It can range from just a little hesitation to full-blown panic, like physically being unable to go when others are around.
Gosh. So what does that feel like for someone experiencing it?
It can be feeling really tense, almost frozen, literally not being able to urinate or defecate. And for some, it leads to avoiding social events, travel, anything where using a public restroom might be necessary.
Wow. Where does that usually come from?
It can stem from lots of things, maybe a past embarrassing incident, underlying social anxiety, issues around control. It basically triggers the body's fight or flight response in that specific situation. Makes you feel vulnerable.
And I've heard there can be gender differences too.
There can be, yeah.
Yeah.
For instance, some men report more anxiety at urinals just because of the lack of physical privacy.
Right.
Whereas for some women, the worry might be more about sound. The acoustics in stalls, feeling like there's no auditory privacy. It can get quite strategic, even down to choosing which stall feels safest.
Always the end stall.
Often, yeah. Or the one furthest from the door. It's a way to seek perceived privacy.
So if someone listening struggles with this, are there things that can help?
Yes, definitely. The research suggests a few coping strategies. Things like noise-canceling headphones or playing white noise on your phone can help block out triggering sounds.
Okay.
Practicing using restrooms at quieter times can help build confidence gradually. Relaxation techniques like deep breathing can manage the physical tension. And, if it's really impacting life, therapy, especially approaches focused on anxiety, can be super effective.
That's good to know.
And importantly, just remembering you're not alone. It's way more common than people realize. It's just not talked about much.
That's really helpful. Okay, last one. Let's wade into the great debate. Socks. In bed. Yes or no? Comfort or crime?
Huh.
Yeah.
The battle lines are drawn. Okay, let's start with team socks. There's actually some science here.
Really? For wearing socks?
Yeah. Warming your feet up can actually help signal to your body it's time for sleep. It involves something called distal vasodilation.
Fancy term. What's that mean?
Basically, warming your feet and hands widens the blood vessels there. That lets heat escape, which helps lower your core body temperature slightly. And that drop in core temperature is a key trigger for sleepiness.
Huh. So warm feet helps cool your core down. That seems counterintuitive.
It does, so that's how it works. There was even a study, I think, in the Journal of Physiological Anthropology that found sock wearers tended to fall asleep faster.
No way.
Yeah, and woke up less during the night. Other possible pluses are better circulation down there, maybe fewer night sweats for some, and just easier to nod off again if you do wake up.
Okay, solid arguments for team socks. But what about the opposition? Team no socks. What's their reasoning?
For them, it's usually just about comfort, plain and simple. Feeling constricted, getting too hot.
Yeah, feeling trapped.
Exactly. Or the socks bunching up, feeling weird. Some people just hate the feeling of anything on their feet while they sleep. It can also be psychological bare feet, Feels like freedom, part of the unwinding ritual.
Like taking off your shoes at the end of the day, but for sleep.
Kind of, yeah. That signal of relaxation.
So, bottom line, is there a right answer? Socks or no socks?
Absolutely not. No right or wrong. Like almost everything we've talked about, it's totally personal. It comes down to what feels comfortable for you.
Right.
How your own body regulates temperature, what signals relaxation to your brain. The only question that matters is, does it help you sleep better? If yes, great. If no, also great.
Do what works for you.
Precisely.
So as we wrap up this whole deep dive into our sometimes weird habits, what's the big picture here?
I think the main takeaway is that a lot of these things we might label as quirky or strange actually have, understandable roots, biological, psychological, emotional reasons.
What we think of as normal is actually a huge range. These aren't necessarily random acts.
Right, like chewing ice might signal an iron need. Pickles could be about electrolytes.
Right.
Rewatching shows is about comfort and predictability.
Bathroom anxiety is a real struggle rooted in fight or flight. And the socks thing is all about personal comfort and body temperature.
Exactly. These habits often serve a function, don't they?
They really do. They can be ways we self-soothe, ways we ground ourselves, maybe ways we seek a little bit of control in a busy world.
Hmm.
So maybe the next time you catch yourself doing one of your particular quirks, instead of just dismissing it, maybe get curious. Ask yourself, wonder what that's about.
Yeah, like a little moment of self-awareness.
Exactly. Understanding yourself just a little bit better.
It is pretty fascinating when you think about it that way. It makes you realize all these little weird things are just part of being human, really. Complex and kind of wonderful.
Maybe those quirks aren't so strange after all. Just human.